Electricast.
I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Anne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnne. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
The kids are still at practice, and I have no idea what's for dinner.
You can get a rotisserie chicken and 2 sides for just $15 in as fast as an hour with Walmart Express Delivery.
Who said that? Who's in my house? Don't play with me, because I'm not the one.
It's just your friendly Walmart announcer. This is a commercial.
Oh, okay. You were saying dinner for a family was just $15?
Yep, it'll be at your door by the time you get the kids home from practice. Order now. Welcome to your Walmart. Subject to availability, restrictions, and fees apply.
Now that was a helpful commercial.
On this episode of Missing the Point, we preview the return of March Madness. We'll break down the brackets and players to watch as the best time of the year for college basketball has returned. This is Missing the Point, episode 45, but it's all relative.
Welcome, everyone, to the Missing the Point March Madness breakdown. We finally got the basketball crew together. I'm the real BK, Bob Kelly, here with DK Sizzle, Dave Clarke, Rayshawn Buchanan. It's March Madness time, guys. Last year it was taken away from us due to COVID-19. NCAA did everything they possibly could to get us a tournament this year, and we have it. Couldn't be more excited about it. I told you guys over the weekend I spent 48 straight hours watching basketball last weekend, and it was one of the best 48 hours I've spent in a long time. How we doing tonight, boys? DK, how we doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm so pumped to have, like you said, I'm so pumped to have the tourney. Like, it feels slowly but surely coming into 2021. Like, we're getting like little tiny pieces of normalcy back. Wasn't sure. It was hit or miss. Like, it was touch and go of whether we were going to have a March Madness tournament, which would have been really disappointing with like everything that's gone down. As much as we made the bubble fun, I need like a real authentic basketball experience. And with how the Celtics have been doing this year and like everything that's been going on, like I just haven't felt as plugged into anything basketball related as I do March Madness right now. And it just feels like old times with the tourney, you know what I mean? And it just feels like we're gonna have a really, like you keep saying, we're gonna have like big basketball boners all through the rest of the month. And it's gonna be a crazy tournament, which I'm sure we'll get into. Like, it's because of the, you know, fan restrictions, because of like the years that it is, the fact that like there's big teams that aren't in it. It's gonna be a nuts tourney where, you know, we're going to see like 12 seeds, 8 seeds, like go farther than we think. Everybody's bracket's going to be busted in a week and we're going to be crying into our microphones, but like, it's going to be great. You know, I'm just pumped.
That's the big market tease right there. Which 8 seeds, which 12 seeds are we talking about?
Right. I mean, there's always a couple, but you know, this year is going to be so weird. So like,
yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Rayshawn, man.
I mean, you know, just like they say for Christmas, you know, it's the most wonderful time of the year. So yeah, it's the most wonderful time of the year, man. And especially if you're a basketball fan, and like Dave said, like an authentic experience, right? Like, you know, obviously we get to know who's going to be a future Celtic because we're not going to trade any draft picks, so we know how that goes. So we're looking at future Celtics, you know. So who could we get hyped up about that's only going to get 1.8 points per game?
That's the thing, is every good player in the tournament, I've decided he's a Celtic already. I'm like, oh, we should go get him.
Facts, exactly. That's the dreaming starts now. So
funny enough, the biggest dream was Kemba Walker, and he plays for us now. So
yeah, right, exactly. But you know, 10 years ago he was Cardiac Kemba, and he put on one of the best tournament performances of all time. So you know that's
I'll never forget that.
Exactly. So, you know, we're going to see some of that now, but like I said, you know, I'm excited to get the basketball guys together, like we said, and, you know, I look forward to jump into it. So let's do it.
All right. Yeah, for sure. A couple things about the tournament this year. So it is COVID, so it's a little different. Normally we have 4 different regions and people are spaced out throughout the country, and that's how it's separated: Midwest, East, West, and is it South? Yeah, and South. But this year everyone is in one big bubble in Indiana, which I completely agree with what DK said. I think it's going to lead to exactly what it's called, a lot of madness this year. Not only that, but I think we have some of the strongest lower seeds that I've seen in a long time when it goes from the 8 to the 13 line. and we'll definitely get into that. So I want to start right with the number one team in the country. They've been the number one team in the country all year, and that's the West region and the Gonzaga Bulldogs. This team is loaded. They're a team that I don't know if anyone can actually beat them, considering I'll go through the rest of the seeds up to 4. So we have Iowa, 2 seed, Kansas, 3 seed, and Virginia, 4 seed. See, all those teams are really good, but the thing is Gonzaga beat each one of them convincingly already this season. Now, do you guys see that as something that's a positive for Gonzaga going forward, that they're battle tested, they can beat these teams? Or does that make them vulnerable because they're going to have to see them twice, DK?
Well, they're 4-0 against the top 25, right? So every time they come in, they seem to impress their game plan on every team that they play. And I think with college, and I'm going to talk a lot about the difference between college and the NBA because I think it is important to highlight it come March Madness time. Both sides of the ball are so much more important in college basketball, and they're a really good defensive team as well as a very good offensive team. And I think that in college, when you see teams coming in from their regional tournaments that have played consistent, strong, tenacious defense, you see a team not get slipped up, like not hit a banana skin. I've seen number one seeds in the past that are shooting teams, fast teams. Those are teams that can get tripped up when they hit the tourney. When it comes to Gonzaga, I think defensively they're so strong, and I don't personally think that even gets talked about enough because they're just so dominant on both sides of the ball. But I think that they're so defensively strong that something weird's going to happen. Like we said, like some weird seed. I'm not even sure who they're playing first. Who are they playing first? Do we even know yet?
No,
it's Norfolk or Appalachian.
Yeah. So one of those two teams, like that, they could come in and give them a game. And when you're a Gonzaga and you have all the pressure and the commentators are going like, oh dear, do we have a giant killing happening? You can just go back on defense. You know what I mean? You can just rely on your defense to control the game, stop the bleeding, and like move forward. So I just don't see, I know it's like a boring take, but I just don't see anything really slipping them up until they meet who I think they're going to meet in the Final Four, which will be Michigan. And then that's going to be a battle because I think Michigan are good too. But I also think they're going to beat Michigan. So who knows? No, they're going to be fine.
They're a really good. They're a really good team. Obviously, I think some people are questioning, obviously, because it was the COVID season. Is this the best team that Mark Few has had? Obviously, in 2017, they also made the Final Four. Actually, made the national championship game because they lost to my Tar Heels in 2017. So, who knows if this is the best team that Mark Few has put together. I know Jalen Suggs and company are looking to, make sure that is the case. But, Mark Few has had a lot of talent come through there. He has. And, they haven't gotten to that promise. Like I said, they haven't gotten to the game, but they haven't really gotten over the hump. So it seems like they're primed to do it this year. We'll see, but, there's teams that are 11 and 12 seeds that may really go on a crazy run, and we'll get into that. So I don't think it's a lock that they win, especially when it's just a one game. It's really a one game playoff. So especially in college, like, Dave said, he's going to talk about the differences between college and pros. All someone has to do is really get hot on another team, a guard, a big man or whatever. And then once that momentum swings in college, it's usually a wrap. Because now people start getting, backsides are getting tight. People start going crazy. And, next thing like Florida Gulf Coast a few years ago, right? Remember them? That team, they were dunking on everybody. Next thing you know, it was like, oh. Whoa.
Who in the West do you see doing that? Because, this is another reason, which I didn't say yet, that Gonzaga, I think, are going to have a pretty easy walk, is that there's no one in the West particularly that I think can jam them up. And especially, with how the matchups are working out, they won't even see Kansas till the end. So it's like,
And even Kansas and Virginia too. Both those teams are dealing with COVID protocol right now,
and they're not even as good as they usually are.
Right, and they've already beat them. They beat all 4 top seeds. So I agree with DK. This is the easiest bracket Gonzaga could have drew. When I think about what they drew, this is one of the easier brackets they could have got. USC, to me, is a team that sticks out because they have Evan Mobley. He's the type of guy Ray was just talking about, that he could take a game over. He can be the Kemba. He can take that team really far.
But they wouldn't even see them until the Elite Eight.
Right, and they might not get past one of my Cinderellas and Drake. So I love Drake. They're one of my favorite teams. They're one of my favorite teams of the brackets.
Yeah, do right and kill everything. But no, but I think you could. No, I want to answer what Dave asked me, because Dave said, who do I think could upset them? Not even upset them, but just take them out the tournament, right? Bobby probably knows where I'm going, because I've been talking about this guy a couple of times throughout the season. That Iowa team, Luka Garza, that dude is, to me, is a problem. To me, like I say, I think he's getting like 23-8 on the year. Like, I just think he's someone that can just take over the game inside and out. And to me, if he catches fire and that team follows his lead, I think that's the team that can get them. Now, granted, because they're on the 2 seed, you're right, Dave, they won't see them at least since like the Elite 8 or, maybe they even the Final Four. So we don't know. But I think that Iowa team is someone that we could look out for sure, mainly because of that number 55 that, to me, he's a baller for real.
So if we're looking for first round upsets, potential teams that we think could take teams out early, Ohio, 13 seed. They have a guy, Jason Preston. Like I said, I watched a lot of basketball this weekend. Ohio is one of the games I watched. I was so impressed with this kid, man. He is fast. He can shoot. He's 6'4".
Yeah, we know Bobby.
You guys know I love me a 6'4" gritty guard, man.
Yeah, he's a gritty guard. You love him.
But like them going up against Virginia. Virginia has been suspect to that early round upset year in and year out. I know they won it last year, but they have COVID issues right now. And they are the only team ever to lose as a 1 seed.
But they can always defend, though. Like, they can always, that's what Dave talked about, how good teams can lean on defense. Like, Tony Bennett's going to have them, not to be confused with the singer, but he's gonna have them. He's gonna have them playing defense. So that's always been the calling card. And also too, since we're going into deeper, I got Georgetown beating Tennessee. Georgetown, the 12th seed. Shout out to Patrick Ewing. I know who you are. Madison Square Garden people in there may not know who you are, but I know who you are, Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, Creighton and UC Santa Barbara, which is like hilarious to me because UC Santa Barbara is like the UC Santa Barbara is like the biggest party school in all of California, if not like America. So I have like a weird feeling that they're going to go kind of far based just on that, like not based on who they have on their basketball team, just based on like the fan. There's always one team where the fans are like wicked into it, but I guess there's no fans. So I don't know if that's going to really play in this narrative this time.
Well, in Creighton too, Creighton has the bad karma on their side too. Or Greg McDermott, head coach. I don't know if you guys remember earlier in the season, he made some pretty insensitive comments and ended up getting suspended. And they got their asses spanked in that Big East championship game by Georgetown. So I agree. I think UCSB is going to pull that upset. That's one of the ones I definitely have on my bracket. UCSB beating Creighton.
And then I know you like that guy in Ohio, but I think Virginia's going to beat them. And I think Virginia is then immediately going to beat UCSB. And then it's like, I don't think anybody matches up well in the West against Gonzaga, like I said.
No, all this is just to see who can lose to Gonzaga in the Elite Eight.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's what all this is. Yeah.
Especially because Gonzaga have those two crazy forwards, like, are just good, that like are so good, so fast, so tall. Like
Suggs, Kispert, Suggs and Timmy?
Kispert and Timmy. Yeah, is it Timmy? Is how you pronounce it? Yeah. They're both putting up like 20 points a game. They're both fast. One of them's Timmy, I think, is like 6'11" or something like that. And he's just good. And every time I've seen those forwards play, like, it reminds me, it's got that kind of boys playing men vibe to it when those two guys are trying to score, and they can move, they got handles, they got all the things. So don't get your hopes up with Drake getting past Gonzaga. I know they're not even in the tournament yet, but like, that West is so weak comparably to like who, the rest of the teams are playing. And like, I guess you could say this. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. You keep us going on the conferences, because I was about to jump over to Baylor.
Yeah, well, all right. So you want to go over there next? We'll go to Baylor next. Well, last thing before we leave. So Grand Canyon, 15 seed. They're not going to win. Definitely not. First time in. Bryce Drew is the head coach there. Valpo, great. Everyone remembers the Bryce Drew shot when he played for Valpo. If you guys go watch the intro to their basketball games. That looks like the funnest college and the funnest school to go to ever. Like, they just sit there and they just bump dubstep, and it's just the biggest party I've ever seen. It looks so goddamn fun.
I think that's going to be the big upset in the South is UNC beat Baylor in the whatever it is, Sweet 16 they would play, I think. And I think it's because that, like, I think the South is a much tougher region than the West. And I think that North Carolina, I always kind of liked them just based on their baby blue uniforms, I think are cool, and MJ. But I think that they've got that 8 kind of magic about them. Like, not exactly like oh shit, like, look at that one guy, but they've got like a good squad. And I think that they could come up against a team like Baylor and like knock them out and like maybe get to the Final Four, the Elite Eight. I can see it happening. But I just always had a soft spot for UNC, not as much as Ray, but I always have. And I see that being like the big 1 seed upset.
My takeaway from this bracket was, and I couldn't agree with you more. So we have Baylor, Ohio State, Arkansas, Purdue as our top 4 seeds. To me, that's a very weak top 4 seeds considering what we've been seeing. And I think this is the chaos region. This is where we're going to see just upsets all over the place. Baylor might survive that. I don't know. UNC is a very good team. I think they're very underrated in an 8 seed.
I do too. I don't know a ton about their individual players, but I know that like when I've seen them play, like they play good team basketball. Like Ray, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure you've watched them a lot more than I have this year, but they play good team basketball. And like you said, it is a weird division. My first instinct when I first looked at that division when I was picking my bracket was like, ugh, I don't like any of these teams, you know? So that's why I kind of went with UNC coming out of there or getting a little farther in that division. Cause it's like, I just don't like any of them. Anything could happen. I think it's going to be the funnest and craziest region is the South, because it's like there's a bunch of teams where it's like, who's that guy? And then there's some teams where it's like, ooh, they should be better than they are. Why is their seed so low? Not to like Kansas level, but Baylor are also a weak 1 seed, I think. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally biased, obviously. Like, you know, I'm not afraid to say that. You know, I definitely, you know, but I mean, this is not, I won't say I'm confident that this team will go to the Elite Eight. I'm hoping that they do. But I mean, you know, when your leading scorer, Armando Bacon, is like averaging 12 points a game, it's hard. And like the fact that I knew they wasn't going to be more than 8 seed. I thought they were going to be like a 10th or the 11th seed, honestly. But I think they got an 8 seed off their name and, you know, who their coach is, being Roy Williams. So, I mean, I'm hoping Armando Bacon can turn up a notch and someone on there catch fire.
I had that written down. Roy Williams being their coach is a big part of it too. Is like, you never know. You don't even name like that. You can like get guys behind you in the tournament, like happen when guys like that are involved, you know?
The thing with Baylor too is they were one of the better teams. They were right on line with Gonzaga for most of the season, and they had that COVID pause, and they haven't really looked the same since. They haven't got back to that same flow. So I doubt they're very vulnerable coming out of that 1 seed. Also, if you look at the teams ranked 6 through 14 in this bracket, right? You have Texas Tech, very solid basketball team, Final Four 2 years ago. Granted, it's a very different team. They don't shoot very many threes, but they're good. UNC, Florida, Virginia Tech, Utah State, Winthrop, North Texas, and one of my Cinderellas, Colgate, 14 seed. But so you look at those teams, and every single one of them could make a run into the Sweet 16 of this tournament. And there's no doubt about that. You look at, I mean, Utah State's playing Texas Tech. Texas Tech is, like I said, they can get cold. If they don't hit their threes and they're not playing the game that they can play, they could get upset. Texas Tech, on the other hand, if they are hitting their shots, they could make a run and easily beat Arkansas. So there's a lot of teams on the bottom ends of this bracket, I think, that could advance further, for sure.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm ready to see Mac McClung do work, right? You know, he got a lot of hype coming out of he got a lot of hype coming out of high school. You know, then he goes to Georgetown, you know, really didn't do much over there. You know, he comes down to Lubbock, where, you know, Texas Tech is. You know, so I think he's getting like 15 points on the season. So, you know, now he's not much of a playmaker. He's more of a volume guy, but he's a little guy, right? So I know that's why he was on Bobby's, you know, players to watch, because he's a little guy that can jump out the building, right? So I do like his game. I don't know how it translates to the next level, but we're only talking about March Madness. So I think he's someone that's going to have to take over a game in order for his team to win. So, you know, because they're the Texas Tech is the what? They're the 6th seed. So they're 60, yeah. So they're playing whoever they're going to play Utah State. So you should win that game. So Mac McClung, you come up there, you do all the videos of viral, you know, you putting up your arms and you talk about, oh, come see me, I'm about that life. Well, if you're about that life, then you should send Utah State. I don't even know what their what their mascot is. Send them boys home. Send them packing.
Texas Tech also beat Texas here. Yeah. So it's like, and like, I know that's like an interstate rivalry and like weird stuff can happen in those games, but I watched that game and like they were good. You know, like they played some good basketball.
I was saying like Matt Coleman has to be that guy for Texas, but you know I know he's not in this bracket. But I was just making that point because we talked about Texas Tech and Texas. But we'll see.
I like Texas a lot.
When they've been good, they've been really good. Like offensively, they've been really good. It's just consistency is their issue, and like you said, anybody can catch fire. So like coming out, like they're just right in that little, I was going to say bubble, but obviously bubble isn't the right terminology, but they're right in that little kind of weird swing spot where like you say you thought I think they could have easily been a 6 seed. And I think they were for a minute. And I think it's just like, you know, I just see them as like they're that guy Basso, I don't know how to say his name that you were just talking about. You said he was averaging 12 points a game, but He's averaging 17 over his last 5 games. So, you know, you're talking about one player catching fire, one player like trying to like make a, you know, and he's also a big man. He's bigger. So, you know, he's averaging 8 to 10 rebounds a game. Like I say, in the March tournament, in the Madness tournament, like defense, gritty basketball, rebounds, like that can start fires. Like that can start in this tournament. I got a weird feeling about him for those reasons. So yeah, like you said, Bobby, like the kind of the 6th to the 12th, like there's some good picks out of there. And I feel like one of those could like rise up and sweep Baylor to the side. Cause like they're no Gonzaga. I'll tell you that.
For sure. And to touch on that 12 seed, everyone knows 12 seeds always popular upset pick. Winthrop is 28-1. The only loss they had was they blew a 8-point lead to UNC Asheville, also a tournament team, I'm pretty sure. UNC Asheville. They have the best names out of all the tournament on their team. Donis Arms, 10.5 points a game. Guy's last name is Arms. Yeah, it's a good one. And Chandler Vaudrin. Chandler Vaudrin sounds like just a 3-point sniper from the outside. Just saying. Yeah, I like Winthrop a lot. I think they can make a run. They could definitely upset Villanova. Villanova is down their number 1 player going into the tournament. His name is escaping me at the moment. Colin Gillespie.
Yeah, I mean, that
tore
sucks.
his ACL later in the season. So,
like,
yeah, he's definitely one of the better teams.
But that's why their seed is so high. So they're going to go out early.
Yeah, so I see them advancing on, and I think that they could give any team in the tournament a test. So look for Winthrop to advance possibly to Sweet 16 out of this bracket. So we'll go over next. I want to go to the Midwest.
Did we talk about Purdue? Did we talk about Purdue at all?
No, we can go back to Purdue. Listen, so my thing with Purdue is the reason I skipped over them. One of the reasons. And Ohio State. Man, we got to go back to. So with Purdue, I pick them almost every single year. And they screw me every goddamn time, man. Like, I love Purdue. They're one of the teams that pick when I do NCAA tournaments and, like, you know, Xbox. They're one of my favorite teams, favorite jerseys. Love them. But, man, they choke every goddamn year. And I just can't do it with them anymore. I just see them as another typical Purdue team. They're out second round.
I get it, what you're saying, but over the course of their season, they have some, like, pretty big important losses to get revenge with, and one of the big narratives is they have to play Ohio State again. It wouldn't be till later, I think, probably it would be later anyway, Sweet 16 minimum. So when they play Ohio State, it's like they got beat bad by them this year, and they match up really well against them. So I think that they might have a target on those guys if they see them. I know a lot has to happen for that to happen, but I can see them starting to get some momentum moving through too. I know I'm positive on every team basically at this point, but you kind of have to be for getting their bracket because it's like, shit, they might be good. They might be good. And I actually do. I know what you mean when it comes to beauty. I know what you mean when it comes to Purdue. They've screwed up my bracket before too. I think they have with everybody. But for a team like that too. So who are you going to take? You know what I mean? Like Purdue are a better team than Villanova with like the health status. So, and Villanova I've had screwed me over before too. Same with like, I feel like Georgetown's done that to me before. Like there's a bunch of teams that I always try to stay away from because I like always pick them. They're always like a 1 through 5 seed or like seed minimum. And then they always go out too early and they screw up my entire bracket because they're supposed to be their regional picks. But I think this year with everything, all the weird stuff that's happening with the way that Purdue played in like, pre-tournament and the way they're looking pretty hot coming in. And they have the revenge, like I said, to avenge. I like them. We like this stock. We like this pick on this one in the Dave camp.
All right. No, I mean, I don't hate you for it. They have some ballers over there. They have Trevion Williams. Trevion Williams he's going to be a lottery pick when he really comes out. Yeah, he's really good.
It is Ohio State for them in the Elite Eight, and that to me I can see it. That's going to be the game. It's going to be Ohio State and Purdue are going to win.
All right. I don't hate that. Another team I want to touch on, Ohio State, just because you were just talking about them. This team is also really good. They hit a couple bumps in the road at the end of the season. They were almost right on that number 1 slot, but then they lost 4 games in a row end of the regular season. They made it all the way to the Big Ten championship game and played an absolute gem against Michigan. That was a great game. So this team is definitely battle tested. They can definitely make a run in this tournament. I know that's not like a hot take because they're a 2 seed, but they're a very popular pick coming out of this bracket, and I can definitely see why. Dwayne Washington, EJ Liddell, they're awesome.
So just like how you guys got on Purdue, like that's how I'm going to say about Ohio State, right? Like even when they were favored before, right? When they had, Mike Conley and Greg Oden and, Then a couple of years later, then you had Evan Turner, then you had Jared Sullinger. Like they would make a little bit of noise, but then just when you expect them to win, they'll fold. So to me, they may have a good team, and yes, they're the 2 seed, but once again, in a year where certain teams didn't make it, whether because of COVID protocol, the record just wasn't good, they were really just gifted a 2 seed. I don't think they're a real true a 2 seed. Excuse me. Can't even get it out right because it's not right. They're not that good. I don't think they're going to be that good when it matters, honestly. But who knows? I could be wrong. So I'm definitely playing both sides of the fence here as I say that. But I just think historically they haven't been good in the tournament when it matters. So I don't see any reason for it to be different.
I hope you're right. And I agree with you because I just feel, first of all, I like Michigan. I think Michigan are a much better team than them. I watched that Big Ten tournament game too, and I feel like Michigan didn't play up to their usual standard. I don't think Ohio State are that good. I think, like I just said, I think Purdue's going to knock them out. And I think, because I have Michigan going really far. I think I have them going to the Final Four, I want to say, and or maybe Gonzaga. I have them losing to Gonzaga in the Final Four. So we'll talk about them more when we get to the East, but I don't think Ohio State showed me anything in that game that says they're going to go really far in this tournament. And I think that, like I said, we'll talk about this when we get to the East, but I think that made a lot of people underestimate Michigan.
I like it. Yeah. Last upset for this bracket, 14 seed over number 3 Arkansas. They both play identical games. This is going to be one of the games of the tournament. You guys are going to love it. It's going to be the fastest game you're going to see all year. Colgate, all they do is run. Arkansas, all they do is run. It's going to be one of the best upsets, in my opinion, of the bracket. I'm calling it now. I have it in every bracket I filled out. Colgate over Arkansas is happening. Ray, do you think I'm crazy, man? I know you like Moses Moody. He's your kind of guy. I know you like him. So am I nuts or?
I mean, you may be, man. I mean, like I said, I don't know. Like I said, a team, and I like teams that run. So that is something I'm a fan of. So you said the teams are very similar. I haven't seen Colgate at all outside of my bathroom, but I brush my teeth for Colgate. But if they're anything like their toothpaste, then they may mess around and do an upset because they're pretty good. But no, I don't see that happening. I mean, granted, if you put it in every bracket, it seems like you're manifesting that to happen. So who knows? But no, but the mood may just be right for Arkansas, so I think they get it done. So we'll see.
The Midwest, to me, is the bracket of doom. This bracket is stacked from top to bottom. So the Midwest has 1 seed Illinois. They are unbelievable. 2 seed Houston, also unbelievable. This team is one of the most resilient teams in college basketball.
I think West Virginia are better. I think they should be the 2 seed, but that's just me.
I like that. I'm going to go back to you on that.
Okay.
4 seed, Oklahoma State, Cade Cunningham. I mean, the name says itself. This guy's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft. Also, we got Keon Johnson from Tennessee in this bracket, Miles McBride from West Virginia, Jose Alvarado from Georgia Tech, Kofi Cockburn, Illinois, I can never say his name, Dosunumu from Illinois. This bracket's stacked from top to bottom. It's one of my favorite brackets. The best mid-major team who I know, I'm going to go to you for this, DK. Loyola Chicago, by far the best mid-major team in college basketball. They made the Final Four 3 years ago.
I can't wait for this Cinderella run. I can't wait.
Yeah, this team's even better. What's her name?
Yes, Sister Jean.
Sister Jean is back in the tournament, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to DK. Tell us what your Cinderella is here.
All right, so I will talk about West Virginia also because I had a tough time with those two. But to start with Loyola Chicago, like Sister Jean, obviously we love that. We need that. We need a little 2021 good vibes, fun, viral meme shit. Like we're about it. I'm about it. You guys are about it when it happened the first time, obviously. And also, like I said, how could you not be? Like, it's a good litmus test for you being a miserable fuck if you didn't think that was awesome. But like I said, what do they focus on? Defense. They're a defensive team. They get back in transition. I'll tell you exactly why. It's completely biased and personal reason. I saw them play like a couple of games in the height of our I'm mad about the Boston Celtics period. And what they do really well is they get back in transition on defense. They don't chase the offensive boards because they're not that kind of team. They immediately get back and they lock into their zones.
The most efficient defense in the country, statistically.
It's literally statistically the most efficient defense in the country. For a mid-major team to be holding teams to something like 69 points a game, with the teams, I understand they're playing nobody. Like I get that, but they're holding teams defensively because they play good defense. They play body man defense. Their switches are fast. Their transitions are fast. I'm about it. Look, they could lose in the first game, sure, but at least it'll be fun to watch. It'll be my kind of basketball. It'll be smart defensive basketball, good switches. No one's going to do anything infuriating like fouling guys, taking 3-point jump shots like the Celtics love to do these days. And I think it's just going to be, like you said, I think bracket of doom. The Midwest it's got so many crazy things that can happen. I'm so amped about it. West Virginia, on the other hand, you are like the best gambling team. And to me, if you're putting money on individual games, I love West Virginia. I'll tell you why. I think I forget the exact stat, but it's like they had 9 losses this season, and like 7 or 8 of them were by less than 5 points, and all 9 losses came from tournament teams. Every single one. So a team like that's a team that's just they lose whatever. They've lost those games, but they're hardened. They're forged in steel. The teams that they played were legitimate, like conference champions, like legitimate March Madness tournament teams that are also trying to make runs. They played against big guys. That, like, a lot of times you see teams like this come in and they're just like, holy shit, we've never played against a guy that size before. Like, you saw Zion do that to so many teams when he was in college. I mean, he does that to teams in the NBA too, but you see that happen where it's just like, holy shit, we've never played a team this fast before. Holy shit, we've never played a team this strong before, big before. West Virginia has been absolutely forged in fire when it comes to the teams that they played. And like, I think they can absolutely beat anybody in the field, essentially, like with the exception of like maybe a couple. I mean, Illinois is in the Midwest, and like you said, I really do think Illinois are strong. Like, they're one of the best teams in America, and I think they're my second strongest 1 seed. I think you guys would agree with that. I think it's Gonzaga and then them.
Yeah, I think for sure. Yeah. With Dosunmu there, man, he's just a closer. You know what I mean? Like they say, coffee's for closers. This dude can drink some damn
Pour the
coffee.
man a cup of Joe. but I hope not, because I really think the Midwest is a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of fun teams in there. I think Loyola Chicago are fun. I think West Virginia are fun, and I think West Virginia have a point to prove that. I think they have the chip on their shoulder, and I think they're going to be like a lot of fun to watch. Oh, and they have that guy. Oh, what the hell is his name?
Who? West Virginia?
Yeah. What the hell? Culver. Derek
Culver?
Derek
Culver.
Derek Culver. He's so fast for a guy who's so big. He moves around. So you'll see if you haven't watched them at all. Like, I'm Bobby. I know you watched like a shitload of college basketball, but if you watch them, like, you're like, wait a second, I'm sorry, how big is that guy? And he moves around so well underneath the basket. But the problem is, I think Illinois have a guy that can do that too. But he's so fast, and I think he might be a legit 7-footer, which is like in college. Oh shit. You know what I mean? When you see stuff like that. So I'm excited. I'm excited to watch them. I'm excited for the Midwest. Like, I'm just excited for how the whole Midwest shakes out. Yeah, this is the bracket for me.
2, 3, and 4. All 3 of those seeds have a case for being legit 2 seeds. You have Houston, West Virginia, and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State was criminally underseeded as a 4 seed. They should not be a 4 seed. They beat West Virginia twice. And then West Virginia got ranked ahead of them. You know, I'm not hating on West Virginia. It's just like, when you see that, it's like, okay, so Oklahoma State is not a 4 seed. You know what I mean? They are a 2 seed. They are a 3 seed, and they're at that 4 seed.
But then also, the 7th seed in the Midwest is Clemson. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's not the Clemson of old, but like, it's still Clemson. You know, Rutgers is in there. They're pretty decent. Like,
well, no, I mean, I think they dropped to the 4 seed because they lost in the Big 12 championship game to Texas. That was the problem with Oklahoma State. But listen, I mean, you know, Dave gave great analysis of the Big 12. Bobby, you just gave analysis. It all comes down to this. It's only one guy that we need to worry about, and that's Cade Cunningham. That man's an assassin. Like I said, we just talked about him being the number 1 pick. If he's on, it doesn't matter. I don't care about, hey, yo, K about to bust that out. That's what's about to happen. Like, as soon as he gets on that floor, they face each other later on in this tournament. Look out! It's going to be a problem. And it's funny. Like, it's cool to see Illinois be this good, because obviously, you know, Illinois hasn't been this relevant really since we were in high school with, you know, with
D Ford.
Not D Ford. D Brown, Darren Williams, and Luther Head.
Luther Head. What
Luther
a
Head.
name.
Yeah. So, you know, that was the big trio. They were the number 1 seed. I think they actually lost to they lost to my Tar Heels too back then. So, you know, so it's just like,
who was the coach of Illinois back then? It was,
I want to say Ron Cook, but that might be football. I don't know. I'm getting Ron Cook was a
sounds
coach
like a basketball name.
But it sounds like so we'll go with Ron Cook. But you know, don't fact check me on it, right? But even with West Virginia too, right?
Ron Zook. No, that's the football.
Okay,
that's football. No, Ron Zook is football.
Ron Zook. Okay.
All right, anyways, we're moving on.
Gotcha.
We're moving on.
Anyway, yeah, it doesn't matter. But no, but it's funny. Like I haven't watched. I mean, I'll take Dave's word for it because I haven't watched an ounce of West Virginia basketball. I haven't heard anybody be interested in West Virginia really since Kevin Pissnagel was there, and that was years ago.
Nice. Dude, they've got some good players. I'm telling you.
No. I know. I'm saying I believe you. I'm just saying.
Huggins is a great coach too.
He is. He's tough nose. I mean, I know he did some stuff at Cincinnati as well. So I know his teams play really good defense, and they take on the attitude of their coach for sure. So that's the case, and I know Dave likes those hard nosed type of teams. So that's probably why he's going hard for them. So that's understandable. But yeah, like I said, I just don't remember any team being worthy of that type of praise really since the Kevin Pissnagel days. And
but they had two guys. They got two guys that got honorable mentions. Culver got an honorable mention for the AP All-American team, and so did Miles McBride. So, it's like they have this weird kind of identity where it's like they're kind of a cusp team, like that. And I know, they've lost some of the teams we've been talking about in that Midwest region, but they have this kind of like, if they could just figure out this one thing, if they could just close out this one thing, they'd be like, a much, much better team. For me, I think they're the second best team in the Midwest. And I think that it's not that big of a drop off, to be 100% honest with you. So, but like you said, you're right. I mean, I do love in college basketball. I think we discovered recently in the NBA, I'm actually like a closeted, flamboyant, flashy offensive slasher play fan. Even though I used to say I was like all into fundamentals. I'm like, but James Harden's so good.
I went so in on the fundamentals, and then DK just abandoned me on the fundamentals. He's like, bro, fundamentals are boring. What the hell are you talking about?
I just think in the NBA, it's just like, it's been beaten into me in the NBA that it's about who your best one player is and who your best three players are. And it's just like, I think I said that I love fundamentals and I love defensive plays because the Celtics have always had that identity. And even when we had great players like Pierce and Garnett and Allen, it's like, the way we got through the Cavs was to play that kind of team defense on LeBron James. And it's just fun. That stuff is just fun to watch for me. It's like people figuring out the game of basketball, and it happens so often in the March Madness tournament. And I think that, with a good coach, a good system, with battle tested players and like guys right on the cusp that, like you said, it only takes one guy to catch fire. I'm loving them right now. I'm just so high on them. Watch them lose in the first round.
Right. No, I want to ask something about Houston too, right? So it's a shame that they didn't get that we didn't see them in the tournament last year. Because I don't know. I can't think of who's on the team right now, but they had a kid last year named Nathan Hinton who's in the league now. That if he was in the league paired with whoever they have on their team now, Houston might have made it to the Final Four. Like, that's how good Nathan Hinton was, in my opinion. So it's too bad they didn't get there. But I mean, clearly they had a good team there because now it went from a team that wasn't really recognized to now they're the 2 seed and they won the American Athletic Conference. So
they also in the Midwest they have a pretty quick walk. They have a pretty quick walk, Houston. Like, they have teams that they should beat in the first 3 rounds.
They should get there. Obviously, Houston has had some decent teams in the past, obviously, but not really since the '80s. That team that lost to NC State in the '80s with Jim Valvano's team, but. Yeah, man. So I don't know. We'll see. Like it looks like I said, the Midwest definitely. I thought the West was gonna have the best bracket. Honestly, I know you guys said it was kind of weak, but when you have Kansas, Gonzaga, some other team, I think that's gonna be the biggest one. But this is right behind it, in my opinion. But like I said, we'll see how it plays out. But Dave's sweetheart pick, the Loyola Chicago team. They may mess around and still get to the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8. And like, just for a feel-good story, I hope that actually happens.
Yeah, no, I would love it. I mean, who doesn't love that? That run that they did too, the way they did it was so amazing with the last second shots in Miami and someone else back to back. It was awesome.
Couple magic. Like, it is. Who better to supply that magic?
This is the gene. Sister Act 3.
Couple lower seeds to look out for. We'll start with 6, San Diego State. They won the Mountain West. This team's really good. They beat Utah State, also a tournament team, in the Mountain West tournament title. They smoked them. Absolutely dominated them. They have some solid players, Mark Mitchell, Jordan Shackle. They're really good. They're a veteran team. That's the thing is with San Diego State, is they're that type of team that they always do that, where they're really good every few years because they recruit for seniors. They don't recruit for these one and dones. They don't recruit for that. They're the type of teams that stay together for 4 years. So that's why once they get in a tournament every few years, they're a dangerous team.
Yeah, I mean, look at Duke not being in the tourney this year is because they reverted from that model. For so many years, it was like, if you come to Duke, you're going to play until you're at least a junior, and you're going to learn the fundamentals of basketball, and if you drafted a Duke player for so long, as we know, you would get a more complete version from when you got that you would get from anywhere else. Now they had to switch to that kind of one and done model, and now they're not even in the tournament.
It's worked. Tatum was one and done. He's been a problem. Zion was one and done, a problem. RJ Barrett.
My favorite part about it this year, though, was when Duke was like, hey, by the way, hey, we'll be in the tournament if you want us. We'll be in it. We're still eligible. And it's like, nah.
But they suck now.
No, we're good, bro. We don't need you.
If they was like 24-3 or 25-3 or whatever, like you could rest assured they wouldn't have tried to cancel the season. They would have done everything they could to make sure they're there. Like, I'm not gonna miss Duke, but I know I know, Dave, you're right to an extent, but like I said, he has had the one and done's be successful. I wish that Roy Williams would do that, because I'm like, our best freaking player was Marcus Page for a while, and I'm just like, Marcus Page is not better than.
I get that they won on this model, but Duke's consistency and their reputation is based on the fact that if you come to Duke, you're going to play in the March Madness tournament, and you know what I mean, and you're going to play for Coach K, and like that. It's a what have you done for me lately kind of sport, and it's like if they don't get 2-3 years in a row because like they can't get, because like then all of a sudden you can't get the one and done players, like you need to have a balance of both. You still need to get in after those guys leave. At least you're still Duke. It's embarrassing that you're not in there, and it's like. It's something's rotten in the state of Denmark, right? Those guys. Not to say that I don't love to see Duke lose. I mean, who doesn't love to see Duke lose? Which is why I kind of want him in there. They're like the weakest Duke team, So whatever.
Oh, remember when they lost at Lehigh? Oh my God,
that was the best, man.
That was beautiful.
That was the best.
Shout out to CJ McCollum. Oh my God.
So Rutgers is another team to look out for. They've beat some quality teams: Purdue, Syracuse, Maryland. They have two. You guys know I love my bloodlines. Two former NBA players' sons. They have Geo Baker, Vin Baker's son, and Ron Harper Jr., which is just beautiful. So I think Rutgers could make a run. They're a team that they were going to get in last year. They didn't because it got canceled. So look out for them. Syracuse, do I have to say anything else? That zone. Every year, March Madness, they don't deserve to get in.
Team that plays this, they're the only team that plays the zone basically,
and they do
and nobody wants
so
to play
well, man.
Nobody wants to play them because of it.
Yeah, so they're always an upset.
Their zone isn't as good as it used to be. I will say that it's not at the same standard as it was even a few years ago. But like nobody wants them. Nobody wants to get selected.
They don't have the same athletes, so that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Which is like that's going to happen. But like nobody wants to get selected against Syracuse.
Once again, we talked about coaching, right? We said Roy Williams is someone. Jim Boeheim, as long as he's there, Syracuse is going to have a chance. He's going to steal you a game.
Also, San Diego State, even the coach said that he was like, we've seen very limited zone play all year, so it's going to be an interesting matchup. And then it was like, by very limited, do you mean none? It's like, yeah, no, they have no, they're going to, and even if you do watch game tape on Syracuse, it's like, it's still not really enough a lot of the time. It's like that. It's so hard to play against that zone because, I mean, what do we always say about the Celtics getting killed? I know I keep talking about the NBA, but like you got to reference it. It's a good point of reference. The Celtics getting killed against the zone is like they're set up like a team that shouldn't get killed against the zone because they have guys that are athletic and big and they should be able to get into those zones and like pull up and shoot. But in college, it's just nobody's as good at shooting, you know what I mean, as they are in the NBA. So when you have an efficient zone, it's just like, oh shit, like what are we gonna do? We can't get there,
College basketball players love to drive into trouble. It's like their favorite thing to do is to drive into a crowd.
I call it running up your own ass.
They love it, man. I've never this past weekend I saw so many times it'd be like a big point in a game and a guy would just drive it into the middle of the lane and there's just three guys there and they just take it from him. And it's like that never works. What are you doing? It never works.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they don't have the vision to dish then too. Like it's like they don't have the kind of like it's like they all put their head down. They've been the fastest guy on their teams their whole lives. They put their head down. They get to the conference tournament, or even after that, and they haven't beat their man because their head was down. They go, oh shit, and then they like can't make the reads. Like who's good at passing out of a double team coming out of college? Nobody. You know what I mean? Like very, very, very few people. So anytime you can just like, yeah, that's why the zone works. But it's not that fun to watch. So I kind of hope they lose.
Oh, it's so boring. Yeah, it's terrible. Another lower seed, Liberty. That's right. These 11 through 13 teams in every bracket, I'm like, these are good teams. Every single one of them is a good team. Liberty is a good basketball team. Another team, You guys know I love my guards. Another team led by their guards. They were 15-1 in the last 16 games. They beat South Carolina and Mississippi State. Neither of them made the tournament, but they're at least Power 5 conference teams. So they can definitely hang with the big boys, so look out for Liberty too. And then last bracket, so we'll go to the last bracket.
I don't like Liberty because I keep getting that Liberty Mutual jingle stuck in my head every time I look at their name.
Liberty.
I'm going to be thinking about that the entire tournament if they don't get fucking knocked out right away. So let's go Oklahoma State.
Yeah, right. That's so. I do have Oklahoma State coming out of that region, by the way. So East, we'll get to the picks at the end. Hang on. So East, we got Michigan. This is the Michigan bracket. Michigan, Florida State. 2 seed is Alabama. 3 seed Texas. There's some good lower seeds over here too. Rayshawn mentioned them earlier. Georgetown. I think Michigan's in trouble in this bracket. I'm not going to lie. I think them not having their big guy. I can never think of his name.
No, you have it on there. Isaiah Livers. You have it on there. Isaiah Livers.
Yeah, Livers. And them not having Livers is a big deal. He's their senior leader. He's not just like a freshman playmaker. He's their Marcus Smart that also scores their points. So it's like when you lose a guy like that, that's a big deal. Granted that they made it all the way to the title game. They won that title game without him. So, they could make me look like an idiot and be like, screw you, we don't need him. But I think it's just going to be a big deal when you face a team like LSU, if they get by St. Bonaventure, and you're playing teams that can just have a guy that can score at will. Because that's the guy that can stop the scorers,
Sure. I think that they just have to figure out their new rotation. And I think there's talent for a deep run for Michigan. I really do. I think that guy Wagner's good. Dickinson is good. Mike Smith is good. Like they have guys where if they could just like figure out the right minutes, they could do a little injury recovery run. And, I like the talent on that team. Like they'd probably be my pick if what's his knuckles didn't get hurt. So it's like, I still like them though, and I know that ceiling has come down a lot because he got injured, but you never know what can happen in March. Like we keep saying, and it's like, Brandon Johns could have like a crazy breakout tournament, they have a bunch of guys who could potentially catch fire still. So I still like them. I still like them to come out of that region.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Alabama's a team to watch in the East. Like, I added a player to the rundown earlier. I was telling Dave a little bit about this guy off the air. Javon Quinterly looks like an absolute baller. They've had a nice little run in Alabama the last few years with guards. Obviously, Colin Sexton, came out of there, was a number 8 pick a few years ago in 2018. Now they have Javon Quinterly and his brother there. I think they transferred over from Villanova. So, Jay Wright, what are you doing? You had this type of talent there. You let him go. Like, I don't understand. But, granted, I know things happen and players want to leave because they're not getting certain player time. So I get that. But I think they're definitely the team to watch in this region. Obviously, the 3 seed Texas, Matt Coleman, senior guard. I think Matt Coleman is someone he's not someone who's going to get everybody involved, but he can definitely score the ball. So that's going to be huge. And obviously, they won, the Big 12 championship. So that might propel them into a nice little run. But for me, like I said, it's like, hey, Mike, for me, but for me, it's got to be Alabama. I think that's the team to watch, but shout out to Juwan Howard. He's done his thing. He's returned Michigan back to prominence. They haven't been anything, I think, since the 2013 national championship game. They haven't done anything really since then. With Trey Lance. He's on my mind because I want him in New England, but that's another show. Trey Burke. Trey Burke was phenomenal that year. So, yeah. So I'm excited about this region too, honestly. But like I said, Javon Quinterly to me is the guy to watch.
It's hard for me to look past BYU in that region as far as like a Cinderella team because Mark Pope, the coach, has like convinced me that they're going to be a Cinderella team because it's all he keeps saying. He's just like, this is one shining moment. You know what I mean? Like he's pumping positive energy into that team, which I think he's trying to manifest a crazy March Madness run, which I don't know. I mean, maybe he can do it. We've all seen the actual BYU do the exact same thing. So maybe he's like trying to recapture that magic from when even was that? That had to be like 2010. 2011, that big BYU run when they lost in the final.
Oh, I think in 2011 with Jimmer for that.
2011 with Jimmer, yeah. So, and he jacked up that half court shot and he thought it was going to go in. It was like the last few seconds of the.
No, that was Hayward. That was the.
Oh, that was Hayward.
It
was basically the same thing. And plus, my Gordon Hayward memory has been replaced with like a horrific ankle.
They're both such smart basketball players.
So they're just IQ guys, first in the gym.
last one out.
Every time we get here. All right.
Yeah, because it's funny. But no, I do think I think Mark Pope is trying to manifest a BYU conference, and like that. It's weird because like they weren't always in the West Coast Conference. Like all this stuff got weird, and I've seen them shut out big teams. I've seen them do stuff. So, man, I don't know. This guy's just got me convinced. I like his cheerleader energy. I think he's going to be able to like ride that. Of course, it could be really embarrassing for him if he goes all in on this and then they get knocked out in the first round. But I think they're a solid team.
I want you guys to tell me if you've heard this story before. A team from New England gets in, little underseeded. They have a baller who has the capability to go off for 30 points every single time he takes the court.
Are you saying UConn's going to go all the way? Is that what's
I'm saying that this is the recipe we've already seen twice. James Bouknight is just as good as a scorer as Shabazz Napier, just as good as a scorer as Kemba Walker. This guy can play. So if he is healthy, this team is tough to beat. Look out for UConn if he's healthy. Also, LSU, I think they're going to beat Michigan. I really do. Seeing them play Alabama in that SEC championship game, they had them, man. They had them. They had three shots.
They played good defense.
That means you think LSU are probably going to the Elite Eight at least, then, right?
I think LSU's going to the Elite Eight.
They'd probably be Florida State if they play them.
I don't know, man. I like Leonard Hamilton's teams, man. Those guys play hard. I don't know. I don't know if they beat Florida State.
Cam Thomas is so, and you're right. They play solid defense, man. They almost beat Alabama, who are a lot of people's favorites to come out of here. So,
no, now I'm regretting my choices in this division.
Seeing Michigan State at the 11th seed is terrifying because they absolutely can make a run into the Final Four. This team can absolutely do that. And
does anyone think Georgetown's coming out of the first round against Colorado?
I do. I think.
Oh my God! God damn it! I gotta change my whole bracket.
Listen, in 1 week, Michigan State beat Illinois, Ohio State, and Michigan. In 1 week, 2 weeks ago. So like this team,
Tom Izzo, he matters. He matters.
Right, that's what I mean. Like this team can go in and beat anyone on any night, and if they're playing the best basketball they can, they're going to beat UCLA, and then they're going to beat who's that 6th seed? They're going to beat BYU. You know what I mean? If they're playing, they're not
going to beat BYU.
But yeah, after you just gave that whole spiel,
I really don't think that they are. But again, it's tough because it sucks when you're sitting there waiting to see who you're going to play up until Thursday or whatever it is, the day we're releasing this. So it does suck that you have to sit and wait for a team like BYU. You'd love to see some game tape on whatever team you're going to play. So you could be right. I also actually think. I had to disagree with you on this, but I actually think UCLA are actually going to get in. But that's just because I kind of like them, and I always wanted to go there, but my grades aren't good enough.
you know what, Dave? Me too, man. Like that light blue uniform, and I think came around.
I think me and Ray just like the same college basketball teams because we like baby blue basketball.
Right, that and but remember the year they beat. Sorry, we can go into classic moments real quick.
Kevin Love and Westbrook, bro.
Well, no, even before then, when Darren Collison, when that team beat Gonzaga, I want to say it was 05 or 06 with Darren Collison, Ryan Hollins when he was a good player before he sucked in the NBA, but he was really good at UCLA, and they came back, and Gus Johnson, who was like he's top 5 announcers of all time, top 5. This is March Madness, and I was just like, this is crazy, and I was just like, oh my God,
talk about announcers. Like, how about Dickie V still bringing the energy,
still go and still exuberant as ever too. He is.
If I get in the fender bend, it's gonna be a nail biter.
Did you see him doing? He was so pumped.
March
Madness is back, baby. I want to do a dance, and he literally got up on camera and did
I love it. I was bringing up the Geico commercial because I love the Geico commercials, and I watch it all the time. It's like Geico is awesome, baby. And he pours all the stuff over his head. It's great. It's awesome. It's like too much. It's like just a little dick. That's gonna be Bobby in 40 years.
I will take that, my friend, 100%. All right, so we're coming up on the end here, so I want to wrap this one up here. I do think, to answer your question, DK, Georgetown is going to beat Colorado. I think Colorado's a flawed 5 seed.
That's crazy. I did not think you guys were going to say that, and now that's screwing up.
They already lost to Oregon State, and the level that Ewing has his team playing at right now, man, the level he has his team playing at is really good. They looked really good in that Big East tournament. The way that they just absolutely manhandled. Who did they play in the Big East? Creighton. The way they just from moment one, you knew that game was over.
And And another
Georgetown's
added
good,
thing,
man.
right? But another thing I want to add for Georgetown too, and I usually hate going this route, but I do think it's relevant in this case because he meant so much to him. If you don't think, and granted he's not on the floor, but if you don't think that Patrick Ewing is coaching for John Thompson right now, like John Thompson was his mentor he brought him to Georgetown. They won the Big East Conference the day on the same date that John Thompson got hired 49 years ago. If you don't think that Patrick Ewing is saying like, hey, this guy was my mentor. This guy was the reason why I won a national championship here. Like this guy made me a man. That he is going all out to make sure that those guys are ready and prepared.
That'd be cool. That'd be exciting because I've now officially switched my pick since you guys have taught me into it. So
yeah, so I'm rocking with Georgetown. I'm hoping they get past at least the Sweet 16. Hope they get there. Yeah.
Plus, their class. As much as we've talked ourselves into this being a weird year, sometimes you got to go with the classic madness teams. You know what I mean? The classic March teams like Georgetown are always there. They're always in and around it. You could see Rutgers in the South making a run for that reason. Clemson aren't the Clemson they used to be, but like they good. And sometimes what happens with me with Clemson is I always get thrown off because I'm like, ooh, Clemson, and then I'm like, that's football. Stop it.
Right.
Not on the court. Tyler Lawrence is not on the court.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm just like, yeah, pick Clemson. They're good at college stuff. It's just like, no, they're not. All their good athletes are football players. But anyway, like sometimes you do have to just kind of ride with
for a while.
Yeah, right. I know. Sometimes you got to just ride with those classic March teams, on some of your 12 brackets that you make.
Yeah, no, agreed. And I only have 3 at this point, but only 2 that I'm actually like serious about. The third one's like the chaos bracket that you just kind of throw together. So I want to wrap it up here by going through, and I want to know who you guys got in the Final Four, who's winning it, and I want to know your upset special, whether it be a first-round pick, someone going Sweet 16, whatever the case may be. Who is it?
For the West, I mean, I'm gonna stick with Gonzaga being. Actually, no, I'm lying. I'm gonna go Iowa. Iowa's gonna be in the Final Four, so I'm gonna go with Iowa in the West. In the East, I'm gonna go with Alabama. In the South, I will go with. I'm trying. The South is going to be difficult, but you know what? I'm gonna ride the bandwagon of my own team. I'm gonna go to UNC. It's
possible. It's possible. So all they have to do is get by Ohio State.
Yeah, we're AFC. UNC. I can't even talk. UNC is going to get there in the South, and then in the Midwest, I'm going with Oklahoma State. I was gonna say OKC, but yeah, Oklahoma State. So that's my Final Four. I mean, then just far as the team that's gonna go as an upset, I'm going with Georgetown to make at least the Sweet 16.
I have Michigan coming out of the East, which I know is a little bit of a safety pick, but the injury, we'll see. I do see it. I can see it in my soul. I think obviously Gonzaga out of the West. I don't think any of us are not going to have that. I hate to do it to you because it made me, I struggled with it, but I have Ohio State beating North Carolina and getting in from the South. And then Midwest, I got Loyola Chicago going all the way to the Final Four. So let's just see it happen. Let's.
That's the upset and the Final Four pick wrapped into one, right?
Yeah,
there,
exactly. So that is my upset and my Final Four pick wrapped into one. And then if you're curious, I have them beating Ohio State in the Final Four, and I have them losing in the final to Gonzaga. So if you're curious, because you know what, that's like the funnest tournament ever if that happens. So let's do it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would love every single second of that.
Yes, Oklahoma State winning it all. Kate Cunningham, most outstanding player.
That's a good pick.
I like that. Okay, so I got Gonzaga out of the West. I got Baylor out of the South, getting past Texas
You coward.
Tech. That's one of them. I know. I just see them having an easy route. You know what I mean? I think they're going to beat UNC. No, I didn't. I think they're going to beat UNC, and then I have Winthrop going to the Sweet 16. So I think they breeze by Winthrop, and then they're going to play Texas Tech. So I don't have Baylor playing anyone lower than a 4 seed until they get to the Final Four. So I see them having a really easy route. Out of the West, I have Alabama. I have them beating LSU in the Elite Eight. I have LSU going all the way to the Elite Eight. I believe in this team. I think they're
Michigan
really good.
Going out so early, so we're gonna know real quick if my bracket's busted. Because if you're right, I'm screwed.
Listen, I'm one of those guys that knows too much about college basketball, so my brackets are always, not to like toot my own horn, but my brackets are always just garbage because I just sit here. I'm like, oh, I know this stat, and then I choose the team, and I'm like,
I
that
used
was
to win.
so wrong.
I used to win so much more back in the day when I was just picking based on like, the seedings. Like I was like, oh, 3 is higher than 4, pick. But nowadays I'm just like, I'm looking at his lactic acid tests and shit like that. And I'm just like, oh yeah. I'm like,
Ray, I'm with you, man. Oklahoma State, I have them coming out of the Midwest. Cade Cunningham. That's all you have to say, And then my final 4, I have Gonzaga beating Alabama, Baylor beating Oklahoma State, Gonzaga Baylor championship, and for the first time since 1976, we will have an undefeated team. Duke is not in the tournament. Kentucky is not in the tournament.
Wait, Kentucky didn't go undefeated in 2012 when they won the national championship?
No, they lost in the championship. They didn't go undefeated. They got all the way there and then lost.
Right. They did. That's right. They sure did. That's right. Okay.
So, yeah, it's the first team since Bob Knight in Indiana in 76. First time Duke and Kentucky's not here. Gonzaga's getting the championship. Mark Few gets his championship. And we have one of the best March Madness tournaments in history. And 2021 is going to be great because guess what? We got madness, everyone. This has been the March Madness preview on the Real BK, Bob Kelly, DK, Dave Clarke, and Rayshawn Buchanan. See you guys later.
Hi, I'm Sherilyn Fenn from Twin Peaks. What did you do on your last Saturday night?
Did you hear something?
Toilet paper.
There's nada. The reserves have gone dry. People are hoarding it. I should have done that.
They're all out of hand sanitizer at my Target.
Mark, when did you last watch the news?
We are getting reports of forced quarantines in China, Japan, and now Italy.
You're cutting onions in half and putting them around your apartment.
Yes, exactly. It kills the COVID.
Excuse me?
Let's go. Get in.
Vamos, rápido.
Have you ever driven one of these?
Never.
I'll drive, ladies.
I've got the keys.
Excuse me, I'm lost. I'm looking for my wife. I got turned around.
Join me, Eric Roberts, Jennifer Elise Cox, and Ed Asner for The Last Saturday Night, an Electrocast podcast. You'll love it. Electrocast. Electrocast.